This is Listen Lakeland, the show that keeps you up to date on all the things that make our city a great place to live, work, and play. Today's host is a passionate advocate for the healing power of the arts and a dedicated community connector. She leads the Watson Clinic Foundation's Arts and Medicine program, reaching over 50,000 people annually. She's developed initiatives such as the Polk Arts and Health Collaborative, the Breast Cancer Survivorship Workshop Series, and an annual citywide Arts and Health Week Festival. With a background in education, program development, and community engagement, she brings both heart and strategy to her work at the intersection of arts and wellness. Here's your host, Tiffany Van Wieren.
Welcome to the good life.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Tiffany Van Wieren, and it's great to be hosting this month's episode of Listen Lakeland. This show is an extension of Lakeland Vision. For over 2 decades, Lakeland Vision has been a voice for the citizens of Lakeland, working with community stakeholders to create a bright future for our city. Today, we're going to be talking about Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a time when communities like ours come together to focus on prevention, early detection, and of course, the support systems that make all the difference for patients and those who are impacted by breast cancer. I'm so grateful to have outstanding panel of guests with me today. Dr. Dupont, breast surgeon at Watson Clinic, Cathy Angel, founder of Boxed by an Angel, and of course, Massiel Gilpin from Watson Clinic with Nutrition. Together, we'll explore the practical ways individuals and families can engage in awareness, support survivors, and take proactive steps for their own health. Thank you all so much for being with me here today.
Thanks for having us.
Let's go ahead and start just by introducing ourselves and tell me a little about what you do. Let's go and start with you, Dr. Dupont.
Hi, I'm Elisabeth Dupont. I'm the breast surgeon at the Watson Clinic. I've been there for nearly 20 years. And as a surgeon, that is my passion, to try to eliminate breast cancer. And it's a really privilege to be here.
Thank you so much. Massiel, how about you?
Hi, so I'm Massiel Gilpin. I'm one of the registered dietitians, diabetes educators at Watson Clinic. And diabetes is definitely my passion, but nutrition in general is my overall passion. But thanks for having me.
Glad you're here.
Hi, I'm Cathy Angel. So I'm the founder of Boxed by an Angel. I'm also a 10-year cancer survivor. I had breast cancer back in 2015. So I create custom care boxes for women going through breast cancer treatments and have opportunities for the community to sponsor those boxes or to purchase for loved ones they know that may be going through a hard time.
So to start us off, let's go ahead and talk about the big picture. Breast Cancer Awareness Month has become such a fixture in communities across the country. Why is it important for us here in Lakeland?
Well, Polk County has a high incidence of breast cancer. So a number of your friends and family will be impacted. So it's important to know how to respond to them, take care of them, be supportive to them. And it just affects everybody.
What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, I mean, in being such a small community that we are, I think we're in a great position to help each other out. I think there's many times when women are diagnosed that they just don't know where to turn. And it's asking for that help and being able to be there and provide that for those that are going through it, I think that are most important. And with us being a small town, there's no reason why we can't reach out to each other and support each other.
Absolutely. Massiel, do you have anything to add about that?
Well, nutrition is one of the things that's in our ball court. So we have control over what we eat. We have control over the exercise that we can do. Everything else is out of our power. So if we can do the things that we know we can do to help slow the progression or even help with recovery or even prevention, then that's what we should do.
When our county is growing, we have, over 50% of our population is below poverty level. We're one of the fastest growing counties we are in the state and nationwide. And so we have that small town feel, but we also have a growing list of needs, I think, and especially when we're talking about something like breast cancer awareness, early detection, early screening is so vital. Let's talk about the medical side, Dr. Dupont. Advances, of course, in screening and treatment and surgical, approaches are changing all the time. What are some things that our listeners here at home that are listening right now should know about?
Well, screening is really, really important. We know that breast cancers detected via screening do better overall than those are detected by physical exam. So, for example, when Betty Ford had her breast cancer 50 years ago, screening wasn't normal. Screening wasn't something that we did. and it wasn't something a lot of women had access to. And so they detected theirs by a self-breast exam, and the outcomes were not as good. We have improved significantly over the year, where prognosis has improved significantly, and incidence has as well, about 1% a year since 2012. So the incidence is up, but what we're doing with it is much better. And a lot of that is because of screening.
Do you have any thoughts as to why, or is there any research as to why those incidents have gone up?
No, it's not really clear as to why. I think a lot of it is environmental, nutrition, exercise. We do know that the main risk factors for women to get a breast cancer are not hereditary. That's only about 25%. The rest of it is being female, getting older, lack of exercise will elevate your risk 20 to 40%. Weight gain of more than 25 pounds since high school. Alcohol metabolizes into estrogen. And then smoking. We didn't really consider smoking back in the day so much, but yes, that's a risk factor.
I've always wondered, what about people who have dense breast tissue? So often we hear about that and how that interferes or helps or whatever with screening. Can you speak to that?
Yes, we now know that dense breast tissue, and you may get a little blurb on your mammogram that says, or on your report that says, your breasts are dense, you need to consider X, Y, or Z. We know that women with dense breast tissue tend to have a higher rate of breast cancer, and it could be because it's harder to detect with dense breasts, and we have to use other screening modalities sometimes, such as contrast-enhanced mammography, which is not ready for prime time yet as far as insurance is concerned, but would be a benefit to dense breasts.
Interesting. Thank you so much. So support-wise, I'm in a position at the Cancer Center where I hear patients rave about you all the time. But, I would love to know, when you're guiding patients through these difficult decisions that come with treatment, how do you support them in that clinical environment?
Well, you just have to care. You have to show them how much you care. And you have to share your knowledge and try to dispel the myths. And everybody's been on Dr. Google when they come in. And I have to kind of go ahead and undo what's been done by Dr. Google, because they don't really understand what they're reading. And it's well-intentioned, but it doesn't really pan out very well. So you have to be supportive of them. Let them know they're going to be okay. Most women with breast cancer survive the disease. Mm-hmm. So we've gotten so much better as time goes on.
And I think that brings up a good point. We have a growing group of survivors, and for a lot of women, they kind of express that there's this feeling of the bottom dropping out because there's so much that happens during treatment, and then they move into survivorship, and it's like, okay, I'll see you in 6 months, and here's a guide. Are there resources that you're aware of? I know that we have our breast cancer survivorship series that we do. I know that BCFC, our Breast Cancer Foundation of Central Florida, has a survivorship class that they have. Are there other resources for survivors that you think would be beneficial? And feel free to hop in on this for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, the two that you mentioned are what I've heard of in the community that are really great. But I will also say there are some really great influencers that are great to connect with online, even, through TikTok, through Instagram, through your social media. And it is, that online community is strong, and there's a lot that you can learn from the women that have gone before. And when you talk about scans, that's something that I'm very passionate about, because when I went for my initial scan, when I felt my lump, it did not detect breast cancer. And the next year, when the lump was still there, I pushed for more tests, and we finally went in and biopsied it, and it had grown another node. So they did send me for an MRI, and when they took me for that MRI, my original lump did light up. So that's just something that I'm very passionate about, is if you feel something in your body and you know something's not right, to say something about it and to stay on it until you feel confident that you've gotten the answers that you need.
And from a medical perspective, how is it, what works best for a patient to advocate for themselves in that kind of situation?
I think just being persistent in that this is not me, this is not right. Is there something else we can do to sort this out? Because you know yourself, you know your body, you know your self-breast exam. I don't like that word exam. It's self-breast awareness, really. Mm-hmm. And just being aware. And I think we have, as practitioners, have gotten better at listening to patients and not just saying, oh, well, you're 25, so you can't have breast cancer. when my youngest patient was 21 and had breast cancer in both breasts.
Now, Dr. Dupont was just talking about the importance of nutrition, and you spoke to that as well. Can you talk a little bit about how nutrition and lifestyle play such a powerful role in prevention and recovery, and then what the science tells us about those connections between diet and breast cancer outcomes?
Yes. So Dr. Dupont basically said it all. So I'm done here. No.
Well, are there specific food habits?
Yes,
that a patient-
for sure. Yeah. So if you go to American Cancer Society, all the reputable sources out there, you'll see that so much research is being done, has been done, especially when it comes to breast cancer. For prevention, nutrition helps by reducing inflammation, maintaining a healthy body weight, supporting hormone balance. And for survivors, good nutrition can help with the side effects that come with treatment, help promote healing, improve their energy levels, and reduce the risk of possible reoccurrence. I don't like to focus on superfoods. When I teach the nutrition class at the Cancer Center for patients about to start chemo, that's one of the things I tell them. Don't focus on all these supplements or things that you read online. Just before you start taking anything, run it by your doctor. There are, vitamins that after a certain point can be toxic. So you got to be careful with the things that you read online. But my overall thing is plant-based foods. Aim for just a colorful plate, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans. Those things are rich in fiber, rich in a lot of vitamins and minerals. And if you are going to do meat, as lean as possible. Skip the deli, skip the sausages, the hot dogs, bologna, pastrami, if it ends in E, just don't eat it. Chicken.
So much for my charcuterie boards.
I know. Chicken, eggs, low-fat dairy, tofu, beans, all of those things can help get enough protein in. Alcohol, she touched on that. A lot of studies are linking alcohol to a lot of cancers in general. So if you can avoid it, that would be the best bet. Doing more healthy fats, olive oils, avocado oil, nuts, fatty fish. Those things help to reduce inflammation and staying active for sure. So pairing nutrition with regular movement helps with weight management and overall health. So, it just boils down to healthy eating and exercise at the end of the day.
Yeah, and for those women out there that are busy moms or busy women out there working, I know in the survivorship workshop series, you talk a lot about how even just those small steps of, exchanging the fries for some broccoli in your meal. So,
the small swaps.
So small swaps are so important. And then those small steps, even if it's an exercise, getting your body moving is so important. Not just to prevent for prevention, but for survivorship as well.
I'm actually writing a book on staying healthy for moms, because I think that was one of the hardest things that I realized having back to back. But somehow I make exercise happen. So it's not impossible. Sure. I bring them with me. We go on the double stroller together. They love their walks. We've been walking since they were born. We dance in the living room. I mean, those are all different ways that we can get the family involved when it comes to exercise. We make it fun.
And I'm sure all of you at home are kind of thinking about that, kind of going, how can I kind of incorporate this, even if it's small steps where it's, dancing together in the living room or whatever, or just having a dance day after a really rough day at work. Those different things ways that we can incorporate those healthy movements into our day. How about the idea around, the community getting involved? So what kind of things are you aware of within the community as far as support systems, groups, those kinds of things?
We have a licensed social worker in our office, and she's been available to help and has led support groups. And we have other support groups, but I think that's great because I think you can understand at that point what you're going through is normal. And I think that's one thing that's very important is to say, it's not just me. This is the way it is, and it's normal.
Yeah. And I think there's so many, especially for, again, I talk about the survivorship workshop series because this is where I've seen so many women come in. There's such a hesitancy, I don't want to do that. It's such a vulnerable thing to go to a group or go in front of these, other women that you don't know. But the outcome is almost always unanimously, I'm so glad I did this. Now, Cathy, you actually are big into community and supporting our breast cancer patients
Yes.
and survivors. Talk about how you do that.
Yeah, it means a lot to me because, when I got diagnosed, I had an entire army supporting me. And a lot of the women that write in and apply for our boxes, they don't have community. They don't have support. And the one thing I tell them is this is like one of the worst clubs to have to enter, but it's one of the best clubs to be in because the community and the breast cancer community right here is so strong and so powerful and so helpful. And not to mention when you add the entire nation, there's just something special about women building each other up when you're going through this. Yep. And, if you are a single mom and you're away from family and you're going through treatment, you've got to find people that will help. Oh, yeah. And the people will. And a lot of times, what helps most is for these women to tell them specifically what they need. For example, you don't need 95 casseroles delivered to your house, but maybe you could use help having your child picked up from school. Or maybe you can't afford, clean skincare products. That's something that we're passionate about at Box by an Angel is the women write in and they tell us, what we enjoy, what we like for self-care, and even some little special things about them. I've had people talk about how they love Taylor Swift, so I'll put something in there specific just for them, or I love Elvis, or I've always loved Cookie Monster. So just doing those, you wouldn't believe it when they open their box, they literally cry because they're getting something that was specifically tailored for them, along with some other items that feel luxurious to them that they would feel guilty to purchase for themselves while going through something like this. So I think that's
funny how just that being seen.
Yes.
That it's so innate to all of us in human, as part of the human makeup. I feel like being seen is such an important thing in the clinical environment and in our community.
Absolutely.
So tell me about your boxes. So what's your favorite box that you've ever put together?
Well, they're all custom, but quite a few of them are mostly based on self-care items. So things like clean face masks that women can put on, cozy socks, little blankets. We do these weighted hearts that you warm up that you can use, just for comfort. Journals. That's one of the big things. They love to have a journal where they can write out their feelings. And that was something that I was always really passionate about when I was going through my treatment because it was a way for me to get it out. There are things that go through your mind when you have cancer that you feel crazy to say out loud, but you can write it down and then you can talk to other survivors and then you'll see you're not crazy. Those feelings are completely valid. So, the journals and I put an affirmation card in every one so that they can post it on their mirror or look at it every day or put it in their car. So just things like that down to holders that you can put your drains in when you take a shower. So a lot of practical things, but it's the things that I tailor specifically to them and those self-care items that women really love. And again, through the sponsorship opportunities, anybody could send a box, which is really kind of cool. And then you get to see who your box went to because I carry all the women's story on my blog, on my website. So I can send them a link to the woman's story and they know I gave her that box. Yeah. And many times the women will ask, can I have their address to send a thank you card, to my sponsor? So it's just kind of cool, to have the opportunity to pair up with a complete stranger. But I feel like some of my biggest supporters are survivors themselves because they know how much it means to just get a little pick-me-up. So that's been really cool to see. And then also I've had women that we have sponsored boxes for turn around and sponsor for women that are on our list. We have 24 women on our list waiting on a box right now. So
that's amazing. It's such a unique way to show care and concern and support. And as far as journaling, those creative art therapies are so good for us. It really causes us to slow down. And when we're in that fight, flight, freeze response, which happens so often during cancer care, it allows us to slow down and for us to really, truly process through some of what we're feeling, which so many patients don't end up processing until towards the end of their treatment. So it's so important to take those moments for yourself, I think, to process through those things. How about the different kind of small gestures? So this is a question for everybody. What are some small gestures? So for those women out there listening who know someone right now who's going through treatment, what are some small gestures that can really, maybe getting a box, or what are some other things that are really meaningful during this season of a woman's life?
Well, we have pillows in our office that are donated by a church in Bushnell. And I've been working with these ladies in Bushnell for over 25 years now. And the pillows are really wonderful. They're able to put them under their arm, behind their head, and very comforting when you're traveling with a seatbelt across maybe your surgical site. So it's little things like that. It doesn't have to be anything major or expensive. I mean, the losses are so many that a lot of these ladies have when you think about it. And just little doses of, I'm here for you, and I hope you're doing okay. And maybe a text just saying, I'm checking in on you. That kind of thing would be very important.
Especially for, after surgical treatment, what are some of the ways that women can, process through some of those feelings? Because we are women, and this is such a big part of our identity and how we view ourselves. And you can speak to this as well, how do you work through some of that trauma? Because it really is.
It is. And I think a lot of ladies have PTSD from that. You have to help them understand that their self-worth is not in their breast. And in this society, when everything is so glitzy and flashy and exposing this and that, and this is all, a lot of people see, you have to help them understand that that's not you. You're still the same person, and you're going to come out of this. I had a mentor one time that would give out butterflies to some of his patients because he said, yes, you're going to go through this. You're going to become a caterpillar in the cocoon, and you're going to emerge the beautiful butterfly.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Really nice, yeah.
I know that a lot of our patients that are people that go through breast cancer aren't just facing, the emotional challenges of breast cancer and maybe surgery or treatment, but also the financial struggles that go with that. So I know for the Watson Clinic Foundation is now offering, the support, some of those financial supports, and then Florida, Breast Cancer Foundation of Central Florida as well.
Yes, I've been involved with them since they started, and a group of survivors did start them. And it's been instrumental in helping a lot of patients through this, because imagine you're working in a small office, you have insurance, but you've got to have chemo, so you miss some days, your paychecks last, so you maybe want to pay your copay, so you make sure you get your treatment, and maybe you crimp on your rent, and pretty soon you're behind, and now you're evicted, and you've got insurance, and you're going through breast cancer treatment, and you're living in your car. We've had this patient through BCFCF, and it's very important to donate to organizations like that will provide a rent payment or a car payment or electric bill to try to free up resources for these ladies, because it's little incremental steps that get you behind.
Yes, absolutely. And they provide support for the caregivers and family members as well. Because, if you are somebody out there right now listening and you are going through treatment, or if you have somebody in your life that's going through treatment and you are that caregiver, it's so important to also remember to take time for yourself as well.
Yes.
Because it is a really challenging journey for everyone involved, not just the patient.
Yeah, we actually just added caregiver boxes at Box by an Angel.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
because
great.
it is, those people that are taking care of you, you talked a minute ago about what you can do to support. I think showing up is the biggest thing. When people just show up, like Dr. Dupont said, it doesn't have to be some grand gesture, but even asking specifically, what is it that you need most? Just hearing those words means so much. And even telling someone, I'm praying for you. The thing I try to avoid is read this article, or maybe you should look at this, or at least you're going to get a free boob job. Like, those types of comments are not necessary at all. And they're actually crippling. And, from someone who did, lose her breast as a single mom of 4, and my hair, I know the emotional turmoil, that you go through when you're losing those things. And I will say to that too, yes, you are not your breasts, but by God, you fight to get what you want. You go get second opinions until you find a surgeon that will work with you to make you feel as whole as possible. You know, and I've worked with my team at Moffitt and then also with Watson Clinic. And I'm just, you know, forever indebted to Dr. Casimir for how she's helped me and how Dr. Dupont has been so kind and generous. I actually still have my little pillow that you gave me from when you put my port in. So this community in general, honestly, is amazing. So it's really important for us to let the women know here that there are places that they can connect and where they can get help.
And I think to echo just reaching out to things, and people scramble and they try to do this and do that to try to make things better for themselves when they're getting through treatment. And a lot of people will go with herbs and natural things. And I feel like you've got to be really careful, like you were saying, that some of these are not helpful at all.
Yeah. Or even like a crazy diet, like a cabbage soup diet or something. Now you're depriving yourself of other nutrients, you know, because you heard or so-and-so had this and, you know, they took this and this worked for them. I get it. When you're in that situation, you're desperate, you know, to try to find something to either help yourself or help your family members. But at the end of the day, it has to be safe.
Yeah, that's so important. And you know, I think practically supporting somebody, not just saying necessarily what do you need, but actually saying, hey, what night can I bring dinner?
Yes.
Or what night can I come watch your kids?
Yes.
Because there's so much overwhelming decision-making fatigue.
Yeah. Well, and having someone to go with you to treatments, because a lot of times you don't want to be a burden, but my friends would say, we're setting up a calendar. And I'm going to go this day. I'm going to go this day. You know, so I always had a ride. I always had company. You know, it wasn't something that I had to figure out, which was great. Because that is the type of thing that you don't want to have to plan when you're just trying to focus on getting better. It's like, who's coming to get me? How am I, you know? So those types of things are truly so helpful.
So how can listeners take action during this next month of October? How can they take action either to support those loved ones or our community of breast cancer patients or survivors here locally?
Well, they can take action for themselves by being self-breast aware and making sure that they get their mammograms. But as far as for the community, supporting organizations like Breast Cancer Foundation of Central Florida is massively important. Yes. The need is so large. Or sending somebody a box. The need is large in this community with the situations that we have with the poverty level here.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that, you know, looking at the different things, the opportunities that we have for support, but also I think, again, just showing up. There's so much that's going on during this month of October. There's so many. I know that the Breast Cancer Foundation of Central Florida has their
the galas coming up.
Yeah, and that's their big annual fundraiser. This is how they, you know, work to reach women.
I would like to add one thing if I can.
Yeah.
Some ladies who've been through this have such strong PTSD that they go into hibernation in October.
Yes.
It's very traumatic for them. So you need to respect those people when that happens.
Very true.
And then one last question, which is, if you had one takeaway for our listeners today, what would that be?
I would say for sure, I know how, you know, nervous you could be about connecting with other survivors, but that is so important. And it's such a beautiful community of people. Don't be afraid, you know, to connect with people here locally, because there's someone just like you, that can help you.
Massiel?
Well, my mom is a breast cancer survivor. So at the age of 18, I was her caregiver. So I've seen what happens. So I have been on the ball about getting my screenings done before time. I'll pay whatever I have to pay, but I'm getting it done.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Dr. Dupont?
And don't be afraid. It's hard not to. It's really hard not to. But don't be afraid, because your healthcare providers and partners will help you through this, and they will guide you as best as possible and give you your options, and you will survive.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Dupont. And thank you all so much for being here. And thank you at home for tuning in to Listen Lakeland. Your feedback is valued, and we encourage you to head over to lakelandvision.org to participate in our monthly survey related to today's show topic.
I said, welcome to the good life.
Listen Lakeland is brought to you as a collaborative project between Lakeland Vision, the City of Lakeland, and Hall Communications, a community working together to provide an exceptional quality of life. Want to watch the show? Check out the video version at lakelandvision.org. Thank you for being with us.